Amazing. You know, life as I knew it existed no longer.
When I came in, I was 19 years old, just a kid.
How sweet.
12 people had to make a decision whether I live or die.
The sound.
I remember first getting here, I was scared to death.
That's it.
It was a lot of murdering, just a lot of cold-blooded killing. It was just terrible.
Had heard a lot of stories about men being raped in this place.
In some ways, suicide would be better for some of the things that you'd have to go through. I see so many die. We buried so many.
And my mom told me, she said, Kelly, I'm not coming to see you behind the screen anymore. And I was gonna build me an axe, and I was gonna go through the back of the gym, out the front, down the walk, till they put a bullet in my head.
Man, who's God? Where is this God y'all talking about? What could he do for me?
Thank you, Jesus.
My life was over. It was finished.
And really, you know, the first time that I ever remember crying out to God, and out of a fear of dying, you know, but basically I was going to die a physical and a spiritual death. And I was broke at that point. You know, I had no other choice.
When the steamboats started really going up and down the Mississippi River in the development of the country, the steamboats got the wood here to power the boilers, because this land was high and dry and bordered right up to the river. They could get off the boat, dock the boats, wasn't in a swamp, wasn't on a big bluff, like around Natchez and all up and down the river to Baton Rouge, swamp in bluffs. And so they cleared this land first, and it became a plantation. It was a slave breeding plantation, really. That's how it got its name, Angola, because they used slaves from Angola and Africa. And then after the Civil War, it became a prison, but the plantation owner contracted with the state to take all the prisoners for free. And so then, in essence, slavery continued here. And so therefore then, it was in 1901 it became a state prison. And at that time then, you know, it existed until now. It was real bloody and brutal because they had inmate guards. It just was. These life sentences, people just lived like animals. It's a rough and tough place. I saw some of that. Ooh.
75, 76, 77.
And found guilty of second-degree murder. And that's what brought me here to Angola. I come from the city of New Orleans, and I grew up in a very violent neighborhood, and where most of my friends died before the age of 18. And basically, I know that I escaped death through all of that. You know, I know if I wouldn't have came here, I'd be dead in hell somewhere. Basically, out there, I had no peace. You know, it impacted their life, and God doing to them what he done to me, you know, and it's just passing it on. And one of my favorite scriptures is Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. It says, better is the end of the thing than the beginning thereof. Angola is not the end for me. You know, I know he's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all I ask or think, you know. And I believe each day I'm walking into destiny and purpose, you know. And I'm following like Abraham, one step at a time.
My transgression, Lord, you sanctified my soul. Lord, you honor my confession. By your blood, Lord, I've been made whole.
My first experience with church was probably about 15 years old.
But my mother invited me to a tent revival, and I went. And I believe that that was a seed that God sowed. I believe that I had a born-again experience. But I didn't get mentored. I didn't have anybody in my life to actually take time out with me in the issues that I had. You know, the issues of you know, just being a teenager. And that led me to getting off involved in illegal things, you know, that caused me to come to prison. And just boom, like that. One time and I'm out, you know, and people say, well, why you wait till you come to prison to change? Well, you know, that's the opportunity. You know, I mean, God doesn't say, well, you got to, because you come to prison, you can't change. No. God said in that time of trouble, we can call out to him. And that's what I did. I remember what my mama told me. I remembered that she told me about the things of God and that he would hear me when I cry out to him if I was in trouble. And so that's what I did. And God saved me. And it's no doubt, it's no, you know, I don't walk around, man, I wonder if I'm saved. I wonder if God, no, God has saved me. God has changed my life. God loved me just like he loved anybody else. We say in our fellowship, we believe that God is coming through Angola like a whirlwind. When a whirlwind comes through, things don't remain the same, they change. So we believe that God is coming through, changing men's life, reconnecting men with their families, causing men to be fathers to their children while in prison, you know, and living a life that is holy and righteous, okay, until God bring us out.
But there was a lot of prayer. We started out with experiencing God. As soon as I got here, you know, one of them said there's demons at this place, and I said, we're gonna run them off. You know, being cocky, but still, we came here and 80 inmates took experiencing God. And then the next thing we knew, we had that 80 being facilitators for 80 and 100 and 200 more. And so we just were going this whole prison through experiencing God, and these inmates were shocked. They didn't trust me. And you know, they wondered what's the ulterior motive, and they were skeptic, and it was us and them. But it finally, and then the Bible college came a year later, and then that really shocked them. And then we had a real college like LSU or Grambling or Southern University, so they liked that. That was cool. So then it just finally, it was a transition, and you can see the charts, how the violence just went down as the morality went up.
I gave my life to the Lord. A week later, I was baptized, and I've never looked back.
No one knew how alone I was feeling, and the emptiness I tried so hard to hide. Though I laughed and said my life was fine without you, I was covering up the secret tears I cried.
I knew I wanted to go to church. I was drawn out there. So I would come out there and I would just sit on the weight pile and I'd listen to the churches. And I'd listen to all of them. Just one day I just got up the gumption to head on out there and sit in the back pews, and I just sit back there and And eventually I was sitting in the front pews, but friends of mine had walked by and I'd kind of slide down in the seat so they wouldn't see me. See, about 2 months later, I was sitting in the front pew, and see, when they'd walk by, I'd be hollering at them. They was ducking me. They'd cover their head up trying to get past me. I said, come on over here, sit down. I got a place for you. You need to hear some of this stuff. So there's definitely a change. Glory to God. He definitely changes people, and I can say that with all confidence and truth. He changes everything.
Through your precious blood, I found pardon, and my sins are washed. They're all washed away. All my sins are washed away.
I'm 33 years old. I've been incarcerated for 13 years, 8 months. I've been in Angola since '94. I was arrested in '91 at 19, and I spent about 2.5 years in the parish jail. I mean, the night before I was arrested, I had came home, and my mom had asked me not to go out. She felt like I was gonna get in trouble, and my mom was a Christian woman. My mom had go to church and stuff. She'd been going to church for like the past 6 months. And she said, Bubba, she said, I feel like you're gonna get in trouble at night. I went out that night, and that was the last night that I would ever be, you know, free, physically free. And when I get in the parish jail, my mom's pastor had came and seen me. It was an old guy, about 70 years old, and I was in the dungeon for a fight. And I had nowhere to turn. I was in a whole new place. You know, life as I knew it existed no longer. You know, I'm in like, it was crazy, man. 19 years old, in a parish jail. You got a murder charge, and really, you think your life is over, you know? I had even thought about killing myself when I was there. I'm like, man, I can't do this. I can't live like this. Man, when I first got locked up in that parish jail and I walked in that cell and I seen them concrete walls and them iron bars, man, I felt captivity. And I had met some good brothers, a guy named Steve Dominique, Steve Stewart, Elsie Crosley. And these were some real good brothers. I'm talking about they was really real with the things of God. And I'm talking about, man, we used to have church on the yard back there on Falcon Eagle fence. It started with like 5 people. And before you knew it, was 30 people in the yard. And these guys, you know, and then we started meeting in the kitchen, you know. And it was just amazing to find brothers that wanted to, you know, really serve the Lord and that was, you know, sincere with it. And that's when my spiritual growth started taking root, is when I started surrendering my life more. And I look around, I see men that's been locked up 20, 30, and 40 years. I see, but at the same time, I got to realize what God's doing, and I got to understand that His purpose is greater than this life sentence. And see, when I get in God's reality, I gain that peace, you know, that peace and that joy, and I know He's going to bring me out of here, you know what I mean? And I had one guy say, well, what if that don't happen? I said, well, I'm going to die believing, because the moment I quit believing God, I'm going to become hopeless in a hopeless situation, and it's going to be a sad case. One of my favorite Bible verses is in John 15. He said, there's no greater friend than he who lays his life down for you. And he said, I've done that. He said, I no longer call you servants, but I call you my friend. And you know, people are quick to say, you're my friend, but man, that's personal. If I say you're my friend, I'm saying it's personal. You know, that's a lot of love there. And just, you know that you're loved by God, that's amazing. I can't express it. Yeah.
You have to understand that you see a love for Christ in Angola that is very pure and very rare. You know, America and materialism and people caught up with so many other distractions, these men